let's look at conditional formatting and the applications of it and how to be able to use it effectively. So I have a data set here. We have managers, we have date outlet, and we also have maybe different things that are being sold. Maybe I should put a monetary figure on it. That's the total sales. So I'm just going to add Ghana cedis to it. And then this is how we do it. Click on this point. Try typing Ghana cedis. Click OK. So obviously, it's going to OK. So now simply widen it up, and then we can see right. So everything is clear now. So now let's look at how we can put some kind of sense on this particular. So these are sales outlet, or these are sales reports from different managers, different outlets on different dates of laptop, watches, and then mobile phones, and then in that order. So I don't like the outlay here. Is the accounting kind of so maybe I should put it as a number, or maybe currency. Uh, Let me put everything under currency, and then I will change the currency again to Ghana cedis. And so then I'll just click OK here. And as usual, we're going to reduce the decimal places so every place will count. But this way, it appears that the accounting will kind of way. And I don't like it that way. Okay, any other way, this is okay. So we're going to look at conditional formatting. Conditional formatting. And this is the conditional formatting as you can see it around here. This particular tool is very useful, and one of the things that it can do is allows you to be able to isolate or pick out certain values or highlight certain values, and then you can actually extract those kind of values if you so wish. Now let's look at it from the basic level up to the the advanced level. So let us assume that I'm looking inside these mobile phones, and I want to check whether there are some values there that are higher, maybe the first 10 values that are higher, or the last 10 values that are lower, or if there are some values there that are above the average, some are below average, and then in that order. So I can simply just highlight the whole of that. And before I do that, let us know that conditional formatting works on just one principle: true or false. Whatever that you're going to do, as long as it is true, then it will give it a highlight. If it is false, it will ignore it. So it works on a boolean, true or false. So we're going to highlight here, and that's how conditional formatting works. We highlight over there and come to this. And then when we click on the conditional formatting, it gives us a whole bunch of things that we can do. Let's start with the first button, highlight sales rules. And in that case, we can actually choose the greater than. The greater than allows us to be able to give a condition. The condition is that, all right, we can say we want to highlight all the values that are greater than which value? So we can say we want to highlight a value that is greater than 150,000. And so when we do that, we can come to the next section and say, what color do we want? We can actually choose any color at all that we feel, and then we are good to go. So we want light red field with black. Yeah. And then if we want yellow field, and then in that order. Then we can simply just add it. When we come here, these are the values that are above 150,000. So if we are looking for these values, it's very easy. The same thing we can also apply it across all the border, and then we're good to go. So to be able to remove the conditional formatting that you have in your figure, you simply highlight the same place, go to conditional formatting, and come to clear rules, and then you can clear all the rules, and then the formatting will not be there. Now, while it is highlighted, we can check. We can also look for less than. The less than is just the opposite of the greater than. Then we can look at between. So the between here give us two values. For instance, we want to find out what are the values that fall between 150,000 and 190 or 180,000. So I'm going to say 180,000. So those are the values. And then let's this time around say that we want to highlight them in green. And so we can see that these are the values that fall between 150 and 190,000. That's another way of also applying it. Now, but the question will be, if somebody wants to apply a conditional formatting, but want to include a value. So let me clear the rule first. And then, so let us assume that you want to apply the conditional formatting, but you also want to make sure that you include the actual figure like we started. So we are going to use the greater than one here, where we were saying that we want the value to be greater than 150,000. But we want the 150 to be part of it. You get it? So how do we do that? So when we click OK here, then we have to go and edit the rules. So whilst they still highlighted, go to conditional formatting, and then you can see manage rules around here. And then under the manage rule, we come and click on. So you can see we have the greater than sign here. So we can see the value, and then we have greater than. So we can click on this arrow, so we can see greater than or equal to, which is here. So when we select that and we click OK, then in this case, it will include the 150,000. So I'll click OK here too. And then that is it. So if 150,000 was there, it will highlight it in addition. So that's another way of handling the conditional formatting. But then somebody may ask, so if we have selected the value that are greater than or equal to 150,000, I mean, how do we allow it to be able to affect the other rules? At the moment, we're just dealing with only the mobile phone column. But let us assume that we want to know, as at the time that the sales were more than 150,000 Ghana cedis in mobile phone, what was the sales in watches, in laptops, and which particular outlet recorded that, on which date, and who were the managers? In that case, we need to highlight, we need to make sure that the mobile phone column or the mobile phone sales report is our reference, but we want it to also affect the rest of the other variables that we have, like watches, like I just explained. So how do you do that? So to be able to do that, you can just find a place and then type there 150,000 like this. That becomes our standard mark, right? And so I'm going to come here and highlight the whole of this. Maybe I should even remove the initial formatting. So I'll clear all the rules. And then while it is still highlighted, they come to conditional formatting, new rule. Then just drag this a little bit down and come to this particular formula. Go to the phone column and click here. And we're saying that if that particular value is greater than this 150,000, which is here. But in this case, you notice that both the cell I have selected under the mobile phone and then the reference cell, they are all locked inside the new rule that we have here, the formula here. They are all locked. The cell size is locked. Sorry, the row side is locked. The column side is locked. So what we normally do is we normally remove the row side so that it can run down. So I'll remove just $1 so that to allow only the column side to be locked, and then the rows will not be locked. So the condition will check the value here, and if it met the condition, then it will give it a highlight. Then move to the other one, move to the other one. That is why we remove the second dollar and left the other one so that it can run down. And now we come here and then select the color. Maybe this is the color that we want. And so we simply click OK. And you see that this time around, it selects all the people, or it selects the rest of the columns across, and then in that order. So that's another way that we can use our conditional formatting. Now, maybe let us clear that particular rule and then check another what is it formatting. So here, let us also highlight. We can also apply this across board. So I can actually do like this. And so let us assume that we are looking at between. I've already done you, and then equal to means that we are looking for exact number. And so in that order. Now the text, for instance, I'll come to it, and the date I'll come to it. I'll look at duplicate. Now let's look at duplicate values. The duplicate values are usually the values that appear is the same thing that appear twice. So as you can see, it has already highlighted the duplicate values. So on this particular one, we have 112 and then also 11297 and then in that order. We can also select a unique color. A unique is always different from duplicate. So if we're having duplicates all over, then we would have been selecting only the unique color. So the ones that appear just once, and that's it. The duplicates are the ones that appear more than once. And so if we select unique, then the rest will be highlighted except the duplicates. And that is it. So when we click here, it will tell us that all the other values are unique. So we do not have repetitive report from any outlet across all the report from laptops, watches, mobile phones, from all the outlets. So that's it. If we want to, so but I don't want to apply it. I just want to show you how that works too. And then we can move a little bit to, but before we move a little bit, you also saw that we can also actually work on text. So if I highlight the whole of the text column, for instance, I can actually come to the conditional formatting and then go to the rules here, highlight sales rules, and then you can see a text that contains. So automatically is select the first one and then highlight if it is repeated anywhere. And so we are good to go. So I can actually also change it to Y. And you see that it will highlight all those that whose names are starting with Y and then in that order. Then I can also highlight U, and then where whichever name at all that has U or whichever text string that has U in it, it will highlight it. And so you can see that it highlights both Yenu and then Wunnam, and then in that order. I can also do A, and then it will highlight all those names that contain the letter A, then in that order. So these are various ways that we can also select, and then if we so wish. And then I think the other one has to do with dates. For instance, in date, conditional formatting and the date, what we are always looking for is uh, when the date appeared, whether the date is overdue, it is yet to come, and then order. So when we come on to apply conditional formatting, we'll go to the sales highlight, and then we come to date occurring. So that way, you notice that it's going to give us yesterday, and then so it means along all the date that we have highlighted, none of the date appeared yesterday. Yesterday was 1st August. So I'm going to click here. If you say today, none of yeah, today is 2nd August, so one of them appears. Now let's look for, let's say, last week or last 7 days. None. Okay, one appeared. Last week, none. And then we can look at last month. Then we don't have, maybe this month. Then we have only one. Let's say next month we'll have 2 dates that will be occurring. So this is how we actually use it. So if we so wish, and this is what we are looking for, then I'll just click OK, and then we highlight those particular ones out. Now let's look at, like I was saying, like the way we use the what is it, the date that we have here. We could also use the same procedure to be able to, even though I'm selecting Abanga, but it will highlight all the rules and where Abanga is. So to be able to do that is the same as the way we did the other one. So I'll simply just get a place, let's say here, and I'll just type the Abanga and then leave it. And so I can now highlight all that I have here and then go to conditional formatting. And then we come to this point, or let me just apply a new rule. And the new rule, we're going to use a formula. The formula, what are we going to? We are going to say that this cell here has to be equal to this cell here. You remember they are text, so it's going to look for equality. But as like I said before, you always remove the second dollar of that particular of the cells that you are going to be changing, so that it can run down. So I'll remove the second dollar and allow the reference cell. That one is fixed because we'll keep referring to it. So we'll move from Abanga to Isaac, it will test it, refer, and see why it is equal. If it is not equal, then it will come down to Yenu, then in that order. That's why we remove the first dollar and left the other one, so that we can run down the rows and keep the column fixed, then in that order. Now let's format our colors. This time around, maybe let's give it maybe some this color is a bit better. And then we just click OK. And then we click OK here. And you notice that it selects Abanga, and then the rest of wherever you see Abanga, it will select it, then in that order. And now, if we come to where Abanga is, and then I change that particular place to Yenu, and then I tap enter, so you notice that it will also now select only Yenu for me. Wherever you see Yenu, it will select that particular option for me. Now, if I could actually add that particular cell, I could give it yellow and then make it a reference cell. So each time I want to, so I can simply come there and then come and say Bigba and tap enter. So it will select only those instances where the manager Bigba was. And then this is how we apply conditional formatting. It's really very helpful when we are dealing with different ways that we can select it. Now, there are other ways that we use conditional formatting. That's let me clear this particular rule, and then we can go and then look at more rules. So we clearing, yeah. And now let's come to look at something here. So over here, I think I've exhausted that. So now let's come to the top, the down part here. Then we have top and bottom rules. So we are looking for top 10, bottom 10, a percentage, and then the order. So let's look for top 10. So if I come here, we are looking across, and in that case, it's applied to only the numerals. It does not apply to date, character, strings in that order. So you see that even though we have selected everything, but it picks only the what is it, the numeral sections. So here we are looking at top 10. We can actually reduce it if we want top 11. We can also say we want the top 8, the top 6, and then in that order, and then the top 5. So here we can leave it at this color, and then we can also still allow it to be like this. And then we can go ahead and say this around we are looking at the bottom items, that's the bottom 10. So click here, and this one we are looking for the bottom ones. Let's give it a different color, and that this time around green. So the red is top, and also say we are looking for the bottom 5. So these are the bottom 5, and so we can click OK. So you notice that we can look at the top 5 and the bottom 5, then in that order. We also, so let me clear the rules and then apply another one. Clear this particular portion. Say that we also want the percentage. So we are looking for the top 10, what is the percentage of the top 10. So I can say here, it's almost the same. The top 10 percentage. So in this case, we are looking at percentage, and then we are good to go. We can also say the top 5%, what is the percent of the people. So when we are looking for 10%, you see that the highest values, 10% of the highest values are actually 3 of them. So you see, in mobile phone, we have 3. Under the watch is only 1. And then under the laptops, we have only 2, and in that order. So let me not apply it. Let's just look at it. So we can have above average. This is where it is very important. For instance, let's say, okay, now let me remove this. We are done with that part. Just take out the cell. Now, if we want to look at the average of all of them, it's very easy. But how many of the sales report are above average? In any case, we want to look at all managers who have performed above average. So we could actually just highlight all of them here like this. And then we come and say we are looking at above average. And so these are the figures that are above average in all the cases. So I like green colors. So these are the figures that are above average. So when we take the average sales report of mobile phones, we will see that all the figures that have been highlighted in green are above that particular figure. Maybe we'll try it and you see. So I'm say equal to average and use the average function, highlight the whole of this like this. I'm just going to close that and then. So the average figure is 109,000. So check all the figures that have been highlighted in green. All of them are above 100. And so that's why it's highlighted. So if we wanted below 30, highlight the rest of the values average. 109,608 somewhere. But let's come to here and then say we are looking for below average. And you see that the below average is also highlighted and then in that order. If we had exact figure of average, that one would have been left out. And so we can look at the two extremes, and then that is how it works. And so we have green, those are the values above average, and then we have the red, which are also below average performances. And then that order. So we can correspond to the individual what is it, managers and outlets, and then how to be able to do that. So basically, this is how we can actually use conditional formatting. Let's quickly rush to see if we can check other ones. But I'll come back to this above and below average when we are looking at how to apply conditional formatting in real analysis. So let's look at something quickly here. Before that, I'm going to clear all the rules. So I clear everything. So we come to conditional formatting, and then we can also apply data bars. The data bars here is simply give us what is it? The data. So these are the color scales. So we are inside color scales, but I was actually talking about data bars here. We can actually put some data bars here, and then in that order. And then the length of the bar will let you know which particular figure is higher, and then compared to then the colors there it varies. It's based on your. So we can also apply color scales, and each of the color scale you are going to apply, you should know how. For instance, if I pick the first one, it means green colors will highlight the higher values, red color will pick the lower values, and then yellow will be the average or those that fall between. So it will actually distribute the data into 33%, 33 up, 33 down, and the 33 in the middle. In all, it's almost 100%. So in that way, or 30-30, that's 90. So to make sure that the data is proportionally distributed. So the 30% higher values will be in red, 30% average. But you will also see that it will have some bit of color scheme. For instance, let me highlight only this portion. Then, so, but you can see some of the red color will not be, it will be pale red, some will be yellow. So those are the color schemes, and then in that order. So we can also have icons. The icons will also allow you to be able to see which direction that you are looking at. For instance, if I select this, it means the higher values. You see the arrow will be pointing upwards. The average values, the arrow is pointing on the right hand side, and the lower values, the arrow is pointing downwards, and then in that order. So if you check on top here, these are our lower values. These are low values as you can see them here. Then these are the higher values as you can see them in that order. So when we go to any section, we are able to see which ones using the arrows, the direction of the arrows. And like I said, it distribute the data into 3 different sections, and then use the arrows accordingly. And then we can come here, we can come and look at the icons. There are quite a number of them. We can use traffic light. We can use some that are more than just 3. So the data will be proportioned into about 4, that's 25% each, and then tell you those that are top. So here, when we come, we'll look at the top ones, we'll look at the bottom ones, as you can see. But There are some that are average, average lower, average higher. The average lower are these ones. The arrow is pointing down, but it's not pointing completely down. Then here is also an average, but it's above average. It's a little bit above the average. Here is higher. Here above average, and then these ones are lower. And then these ones are higher, and then these ones are lower. These ones are above average. These ones here are below average. This is how to be able to interpret your conditional formatting when you apply or any of the rules. So let me cancel this out. Um, Clear the rules here, and now let's look at something much more. So you can actually check the rest of the conditions, and but before you apply any of the conditions, please know how they are being interpreted. Very, very important. You should know that each of the conditions you are applying, the rules will be that if there are five of them, it means the data has been distributed into or has been grouped into five. For instance, like here, five, it has been grouped into five. Highest, above average, maybe average, low average, and then low, like here. So you have low, low, we have low here, low there, low, then above, sorry, high, high. Then this one is below average. This one is average, 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 higher, average, average, above average. You see, but not higher. And then low, then in that order. Please understand how we interpret it before you can apply any formatting or any conditional formatting, and then in that order. So then, I think when we clear the rules, let's look at something that is very important. Everything that I've done here is very important, though. How to be able to apply new rules. Okay. So if you click on this, you're going to have this text box that is going to appear. Now, the new rules here says that format all cells based on their values. So in this case, we are formatting cells based on their values. Okay. Now, when you come down here, under that particular highlight, you can see we have format cells based on their values, and we have format style. We are using 2 color scale. We can also use 3 color scale. We can use data bars. We can use icons. Now, let's remain with the. So here we have lower value, and then we have higher value. And then we can see the color scale as it runs. So if I change the color here, let's say to red, you see that the top values will have the actual red, but the red what intensity reduces all the way up to this particular color yellow at the top here, telling you that that is the higher values, which is over there. So the deep red will be the small values. So when we choose that particular approach and we apply, we can see how it's going to. So that's when we have 2 color scale, then in that order. So if I click OK here, you will see how it's going to apply. So the deep red ones are the lower values, and the one that are pale yellow are actually the higher values. But that's how we also apply those rules. And we can actually, let me fast forward with that one. So I'm going to clear that rule. And then again, let's come to new rules. Then the new rules again, we can format the cells, like I said, you can just play with them around here. But the values, you can also choose it as a number. Then you come here, also choose a number. Then you can also choose it as a percentage or a formula or percentile. Percentile is we have 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, then the highest, the lowest, and then all of that. That has to do with the 5-point summary of data. So let's say I'm looking at percentiles here, and then I can come here and also choose percentiles. So we have 10th percentile all the way up to 90th percentile. And then let's see if we can use different colors. So I have this green and then this. So that's for 2 color scale. Let's choose 3 color scale. And then we have, I think we should have red. And so in that order. So the 10th percentile, all of them will be green. The 50th percentile, you will see it will be something like yellow, and 90th percentile, it will be by some kind of deep red. But as the color tone changes, then you also know that the deep red will be 90, but below the deep red will be now 80, 70, coming all the way up to the 50th percentile where you're going to have this particular color. That's the yellow color reflecting. And as we move, we are moving up to 40, maybe 40, 30, 20, and then 10. Then we have the deep one. So that's how the data has been. We want the data to appear. So if I click OK here, so it's going to actually give us the percentiles. And so the green ones are the 10 percentile. The red ones are simply the 90th percentile, and then the yellow ones are actually the 50th percentile, which is the same as the median anyway. And so this is how we apply the conditional formatting, and then in that order. So I'm going to as well clear this rule, and then let's see one more what some of the. So we can also format cells, only cells that contain. Yeah, in this case, when we are dealing with text, I've already shown you. So you can select any cell that contains a particular text. And then we can also format only the top or bottom ranked values. I've already shown an example. We can format only values that are above or below average, and then in that order. Then we can format only unique or duplicate. We've already seen some. And then you can use a formula. Now, to use the formula, this is where I want us to also look at it critically. Now, to use a formula, to be able to apply your conditional formatting, it's important to try the formula first to see whether it works or not before you can now copy it and go and put it in your design. Now, let's check something here. I want to check this particular cell reference here. This particular cell, the value that is inside there, is it greater than a particular given value? Yeah, I want to check that across. So I can simply say that, well, I can say equal to this particular cell we have here. Is it greater than, let's say, 40,000? 40,000. If I tap, you see that it's false. It is not. Now, what you see turns the answer into what? A Boolean. Like I said, conditional formatting works on Booleans, true or false, and that's it. So if you apply any formula and the formula results or what the output is not true or false, you can use it on the formula when you are doing conditional formatting. So if I run this across, you will notice that it will give me true, false at the different places, which means the formula is working. So I simply come here, copy this particular formula here, over there, and then now come and highlight. If I want, I can highlight only this particular section here, then go to conditional formatting, and now say apply new rule. And then the new rule we are going to use formula. And then I can come here where you see format values where this formula is applied. So I'll paste the formula that I've already tried and is working. And then that's it. Choose the color that I want. And then I say maybe I want this particular color. Then I'll simply click OK. And then you see that it highlights all those instances where there's true. As you can see, there's true here, there's true there. Wherever there's false, it will not highlight it. And this is how we apply formulas, and then in that order. So you can always try your formula. If it is true, if the condition has met, it is true, then you are good to go. Now, let's look at how to be able to select. So I'm going to clear the formatting as usual. And then let me clear this too as well. It's not necessary for now. So let's also see something. If we have the conditional formatting like this, we can also decide to highlight some rules. Let's say I want to highlight this rule, highlight the third rule, the fourth rule. Maybe I want to highlight every second rule, and then in that order. How do I do that? Remember, Excel has two functions. One is the mode. The mode here, what does the mode do? It's just like number base, modulus. So if I have 7, that's the number, and my divisor is, let's say, 3. If I close it and tap enter, I should get 1, because 7 divided by 3 will be 2, remainder 1. So it gives us the remainder. All right. Now, if I also type equal to, and I said row here, and then I just close it, Excel will tell me which row in which I am. It means I am in row 2. So which means I can use the mode together with the row functions to be able to let Excel know which particular rule am I. Now, if that rule is the third rule, highlight it. If it is the fourth rule, highlight it. If it is the fifth rule, highlight it. And then the other ones that are there, it will highlight. So this is how it's going to work. Let's say I have equal to mode, and then I'll still put the rule function over there, close it up. So I am on that particular rule, all right? And then, so the rule number is what? 2. We've already tried, it was 2. So, and I'm not saying that 2 divided by 2. Then I am done. If the answer is equal to 2 divided by 2, the answer is what? 0. You see, it will be 2 divided by 2 is 1, remainder 0. And remember, we are dealing with modulus. So it will be 0 in this particular case. So if the answer is equal to 0, then it will return true. So if I tap here, you should see true. But if I move down, it will now be false because the rule is no longer that particular one. You see? So the rule is now rule 3. So the remainder, it will now be 3 divided by, what is it? The value I have given, and the remainder will not be 0. So it will be false. So you see that it works properly. So we can use that one. So if I come here and then I do this, you will see true, false, true, false, true, false. So wherever there is true, then the function will be applied and it will highlight everything, all right? Other than that, it will not highlight it. This is how we are able to select individual columns, rules, and then leave the other ones out. So now now that the formula is working, I'll copy this particular formula here, and now go to conditional formatting. I'm going to highlight the whole of this, and now I'll go to, oh, sorry. I don't know whether it is still copied. I'll come to here, come and click conditional formatting, and come and say apply new rule. We are going to use a formula. I'll come to this place and paste that particular formula over there. So it is there. So now let me select a color scale. And my favorite color here is quite bright. As you see that it select only every other row. It select the third one. Now the question will be, what about if we wanted to select every other third row? Then in that order, every other third row. So I will say equal to the mode. I'll use the mode function, and then I'll use the row function. Then close it up and say the divisor should be 3. And then, which is equal to, let's say, 1. Tap is false. Now, let's go to the next row. It's also false. The third one, it is true. You see? So we can highlight every other third row. You get what I'm saying? So now, it means the formula is working. And what we have is only this particular place. So instead of copying this formula to go and so we can simply edit. I will simply highlight this, go to conditional formatting, and say we are going to manage rules. And then we come here and click on this rule, edit rules, and then we can come to this point and change the 2 to 3, and then change the 0 to 1, like this. And then remain the color, click OK, and come and click OK here. And you notice that now it is highlighting every other third row. If you want to highlight every other fourth row, then highlighting, go to conditional formatting, and then come to manage rules. Then this is where we want to edit. We click edit and come here, change the 3 4 to 4, and then click OK. Click OK here. You notice that it highlights every other. What is it? So you see 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one, it will highlight it. 1, 2, 3, the fourth one, it will then in that order. This is how we can actually use conditional formatting in different ways. We can apply formulas. We can actually set something like an array and say that wherever this one is typed, highlight it for me and in that order. Now, where do we apply this? The video is becoming quite long, but I just please bear with me. Where do we apply this? Let us imagine that we wanted to select every other second row, every second row throughout. So The first one, I'll leave it. The second one, I select. Third one, I leave it. Fourth one, I select. Now I have done it like this. You see that? So I can simply now come here, one of the columns, and then go to my filter function here and come and say filter. Then if I click here, I can say filter by color. Then you come here and select the color. It select only those that have been highlighted. So it means that we've selected all the rows, all the 4 rows. You see? Or this one is very useful when you are doing simple random sampling. In data set that has been given to you, you have over 20,000 data set, and you want to pick every 4th person, every 4th row on that particular one button to do it, and then you are good to go. I'm going to come here and say select all, click OK, and then we are back. So let's say we wanted to select every other 3rd person, every other 3rd on this particular list. So I would have, now that I have the conditional formatting there, I'll highlight the whole thing, go to my conditional formatting, come to manage rules, and then I'll come to this point and say I want to edit rules. So I'll simply come to this point, say change the 4 into 3, and then click OK. When I click OK here, you see that we are now having only every 3rd row. So we want to select only every 3rd manager on the list. So now we can come to the filter function I've already applied, come here and say filter by color, and then we can do this, and then we are good to go. And that is it. So we can actually use the conditional formatting in so many ways to be able to filter our data out if we so wish. Now let me clear this and show you one more last thing, and then we close from this. So I'm going to select everything, and then clear all the formatting from here, apply another rule, and show you something. The formatting is cleared. So here, say I want to remove the filter. So come and click filter here, it is removed. Now, we want to look at all the managers who perform above average. Now, you get where the thing is. All the managers who perform above average. Okay, so I'll select all of this, go to conditional formatting, click on this, and then we come to the top and bottom rules and say above average. So it select all of them. I don't want that color, so I'm going to customize. Then I select this color and say this. So here, okay, we click OK. So here, you notice that all the colors, all of them. So if I now want all the managers who perform under mobile phone sales, I'll come to the mobile phone column, go to the filter function, come and say, put a filter there, click on the filter function down here and say filter by color. Then I'll pick this particular color. And you see that these are the managers under the mobile phone column who perform above average. And who are they? Those managers are here. We can simply now select them. And these are the outlets that produce above average. And these were the dates, and then that order. If we don't want this one, we can simply clear this particular formatting here. And then let's say we wanted it this place. I'll come there and put the filter function as well over there. You need to do it twice. And then come here and say one filter by color as well. And then so we can simply say we are filtering by color. And so in this time around, we are dealing with watches alone. And you can see that it selects only those that perform what it in watches. Now, let me clear that particular filter. And so you select all and click OK. Everything is selected. Then we'll select this particular column, come and say we don't want the filter again. Now, let's say we select the whole thing all over again and say we want also the managers who perform below average. So we'll come to this point and say the top and bottom rule, below average, and then we give those ones the color. So I'm going to customize and give those ones color red. There are those that perform, what is it? So we click OK. So we have above average and below average. Now, under the mobile phone section, we want all those that perform within below average for query. I'll come and click here, then come and use my filter function over there and say filter by color to select. So the red color is below average. So these are the managers who perform below average under the mobile phone sales. And those you can see those managers around here, and then in that order. So there are various ways we can apply conditional formatting when we are dealing with extensive data analysis. It's very handy, and I hope this video has been very helpful, and then you can actually use it anytime you so wish. Thank you, and I will see you in another video. My name is Big Bright. If you So you can always reach out to me in the case you want to do something like data analysis. You are struggling with data analysis. I'm always around, and I can always make time to assist if you so wish. Um, so see you some other time, and then make sure you